And he sits down and he sort of says hello and smiles in this kind of awkward way. And then there's a pause, and the pause is quite long as he's trying to find his voice. And obviously someone asks the first question. The first question is always, how did you see it? How do you feel? And he said, look, first things first, I want to take responsibility. This is down to me. I've let everyone down. So he said, I came in and I believed I could do it. I had ilusion, you know, that belief, that excitement, that kind of enthusiasm to take this on, and I wasn't up to it. And he says, and I'd like to thank and apologise to those people who believed in me, and this was, I thought, quite significant, and believed in me to the end, because he could have been sacked a few weeks ago, and a lot of people were calling for it, and he wasn't. He said, and I let them down, and he said, and he then went on, he said, I let the city down, I'm sorry to all of the fans, I'm sorry to everyone in the city, everyone in the province, everyone in Catalonia. He says, I let them all down. And then he said something which links to something else I'm going to point out in a minute. He says, no, so I'm sorry to the sporting directorate, I'm sorry to the players, I'm sorry for the fans, and I'm sorry for all the staff at this club who give their soul day in, day out. Now, in a way, that can be seen as a kind of a sort of a standard line. But then, because of where the press are at Girona, you don't always get this, and in a way I feel lucky, also sort of slightly saddened to have seen it, but lucky to have seen it as well. I watched the staff after the game. And in particular, I watched the kit man. And I watched the kit man, who's this big guy, go backwards and forward maybe 25 times, carrying huge bags out to a van, bring them down out to a van silently, not talking to anyone. At one point he stops in front of the security guard. Now, as you can imagine, the security guard was an absolute monster of a man, because quite often security guards are.
Right.
And they didn't say anything to each other, but they kind of held each other for a bit. And this kit man, who was a big guy anyway, kind of disappears under these enormous biceps and this incredibly broad shoulders. And the two of them don't say anything to him, they just kind of hold each other. And then he gets on with his job. And at one point I was thinking, I really should say to this kit man, look, do you want me to carry something? Because he was doing this on his own, and that kind of really brought home that, yeah, this is a lot of people. And this is a lot of people who might lose their jobs. And the other one that I'd forgotten about that I'll come back to during the game, the radio journalist next to me, genuinely head on the desk sobbing. And the last and then I saw Alex Granay, who's the club captain, coming out before he got changed, still in his kit, having to talk to the media, and he's standing behind the kind of the shield where the media are the other side. And a press officer has to kind of come along and put a hand on his shoulder and sort of say, and in fact on his neck, and kind of almost stroke him and say, come on, I've got to go and say this. And he says, look, I love this club and I'm so sorry, and I don't know what else I can say. Then he goes, and the last person I saw leave, the last player I saw leave, this is well over an hour after the game, genuinely leaves the stadium sobbing. And yeah, you think, this does matter. This is real.